Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Pointy Not Sharp. Today we're taking a look at the VZ22. This is also known sort of in the collector circles as the VZ23 short. That's incorrect. The official nomenclature is VZ22. And just to clarify, VZ stands for ZOR, which is Czech for model. I probably mispronounced that, but I've gave my best go. Now, these were made to fit two rifles in Czech Republic. They were made to fit the 8mm VZ98 and the 8mm VZ98/22 Mauser rifles. Both of these rifles were produced in Czech Republic by BRNO, or in Czech known as however you pronounce this. Sorry, I'm no good at Czech. And as far as I can tell, they were only produced in 1923. And it's unclear exactly how many were made. I haven't been able to track down anything to do with that. And I haven't found a definite answer as to whether they were only produced in 1923. They could have been produced for a few years longer for export, but from what I could tell, it was only in 1923, but question mark, I could be wrong. Now, the history is where these become kind of cool. You can kind of see the progression from one bayonet to another. So in 1918, Czech Republic declared independence from the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and they needed to source their own arms and field an army for their own protection. And they purchased a whole bunch of Mannlicher model of 1895 straight pull rifles and a whole bunch of Mauser Gewehr 98 infantry rifles. So the Mauser Gewehr 98s came from Germany, and they came complete with bayonets, while the Mannlicher model 1895s did not. So they found themselves in the position where they had to procure their own bayonets. So they actually manufactured their model of 1895s themselves by BRNO. And I've got a model of 1895 just here. Now, these are very iconic because of their upside down blade. To my knowledge, they were the first bayonet to do this. So Czech Republic found themselves having to produce this bayonet, and you'll find these with a little Czech stamp on the crossguard and other Czech markings. A whole bunch of different range of markings. Anyway, that's another video. There's a whole bunch of different variations you can come across. When I come across one of those, I will do it. So yeah, the Czech Republic found themselves manufacturing a whole bunch of those, and Germany supplied their Gewehr 98s with bayonets, but they also supplied a whole bunch of Gewehr 98 parts and tooling. In fact, they provided enough tooling for a complete assembly line or production line. So the Czech Republic were able to produce their own Gewehr 98s based on the spare parts received, and that's the VZ98. And then rifles that were made completely from scratch without German parts or German proof marks on them, they were the VZ98/22. And you guessed it, they started, it was accepted in 1922 and production really started in 1923. Now, for these two new rifles, the VZ98 and VZ98/22, the Czechs realised they needed to produce bayonets for them as well. There's a whole bunch of other accessories, but that's what we're focusing on here today, the bayonet. So, initially they were obviously influenced by the model 1895. That was a bayonet they already had in service, and that was a bayonet they had used extensively when they were a member state of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So, naturally, that's what they started trialling with, something similar to this. So they mated the blade of the model 1895, the upside down blade, with the handle of a Mauser bayonet. They produced 100 of two different styles of this bayonet for trials or testing, and there was 100 with the blade up the top and 100 with the blade down the bottom. And in the end, they decided that they'd stick with the blade up the top, the upside down wonky blade. So this is pretty much just a follow-on from the model 1895. You'll hear people say it's copied from that, and it absolutely is. As I said, these were only produced in 1923, although question mark, I could be wrong, don't quote me on that. And they were replaced pretty quickly by the VZ23 bayonet, which was the same as what we have here, just with a significantly longer blade. And the reason for that was the VZ98/22 was a very big and bulky rifle. The Gewehr 98 itself was a big and bulky rifle, and they wanted to move towards something that was more of a carbine, light and handy, that could be used and handled quite easily. So they developed the VZ23 rifle, which was really short and handy, but then they found they lost a lot of the reach they had with bayonets. So they introduced a much longer bayonet, being the VZ23 long bayonet, and that is what commonly gets mistaken for this. This one has acceptance marks for 1923. Whether the VZ23 itself was designed in 1923, I don't think production started until 24, but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. So you'll hear these referred to as the VZ23 short. Not so. Official nomenclature states it's the VZ22. Now, that's pretty much most of the history. Oh, I should probably say after they were replaced, they were replaced by the VZ23 initially, and then very shortly after by the VZ24, which I have here. And the VZ24 was sort of an intermediate version. So while the 22 was short, the 23 was long, the 24 was just right. As you can see, it was only slightly longer. And these VZ24s are very, very common, and they're what the Czechs used all the way through World War II and beyond. Very nice bayonet, very common. This one has a fair bit of cosmoline on it, and I've just dirtied my table. So once these were officially replaced by the VZ23 and then the VZ24, they actually started to export them to other countries, and it was predominantly Iran and Turkey that purchased these, and a small batch went to the Republic of China as well. From there, I'm not certain exactly how they found their way to the surplus market, and I don't know if there's any specific markings for Turkey, Iran and China, but this one very well could have been one of those, or it could have made its way to the market somewhere else. I don't know the history of this one beyond its initial manufacture at BRNO. All that aside, we'll jump into the actual construction of the blade. And as you can see, we have our top-mounted blade, slight false edge, which is unsharpened, and a spine. It is pretty difficult to sort of show this off on camera. I'll open the blinds, get some more light in here. It's got a very heavy blue, so it is difficult to video. Nice round fuller. It's just a Mauser style of blade, really. Essentially, they've just flipped it upside down. I know it says based off the model 1895, but the blade profile takes a lot of inspiration from a Mauser bayonet just flipped upside down. Maybe that's what they had the tooling for from Germany, I don't know. Then a really nice solid crossguard with 2 rivets through, muzzle ring at the top obviously, and we have our inspection oiling hole just here, and then just wooden grips retained by screws, and Mauser style pommel with the standard push button. It should be noted, if I can get this on camera, we've got the little indent at the bottom of the mortise there. That's for the cleaning rod of the rifle to actually slide into the bayonet, and that's the same as what you have in all of your German Gewehr 98 style of bayonets. So it's sort of the later style of Mauser bayonets. Anyway, that's the bayonet itself. We'll have a quick look at the scabbard. Just steel constructed. Got our frog stud just here. And you'll see the blade only goes in one way with the spine running down that flat surface there. It's got a nice retention spring on the inside. It's retained by rivets, so you can't remove the throat or mouth. And then down the very end, we've got a ball finale with no drainage hole. I don't have the frog for this, and I haven't found any great photos of them, but I imagine they're just your standard Mauser style of frog, so nothing too special there. Essentially just a piece of leather that slips through and slides up there with a belt loop. Yeah. The only thing I can really say about these other than that is the markings. So we'll jump into the markings. There's a couple, not too many. So down here on we'll call that the left ricasso, I'm getting confused because of the upside down blade, we have our manufacturer marking, and that is CSZ. And that's the abbreviation for BRNO in Czech, the name of the company that I can't pronounce. Then on the reverse, we have a E, and then a line within a circle, and 23. That is the Army acceptance mark. And this particular mark was discontinued in 1924 or 1925. I'm not entirely certain when. I believe the 23 represents the year of acceptance, so not the year of manufacture, although they would have been the same. Other than that, we have a little inspection mark just here, which is a circle with a Z inside. And finally, we just have a serial number on the side of the pommel, which is a C with 4 numerals after it. And that's just a very Mauser type of serial number. Generally, you'll have an increment of 10,000 for each letter. So your first 10,000 will just be 1 to 9999. And then you'll start again at 0001 with an A at the start. So it progresses up by 10,000. C would be 30,000. So here we would have 38,179. There we go. We know they made at least 38,000 of these, which is pretty good effort for 1 year of manufacture when there's no war on. It's not too bad at all. Anyway, guys, if I've made any errors or you've got any other information, please feel free to comment below. The Czechs were fantastic at documenting their manufacturing and production, so I know there is some fantastic information out there. Unfortunately, it does all seem to be in Czech, and what I've managed to track down, I've been translating with my phone, essentially using Document Translate, the Google application. I've done the best I can, but any errors, feel free to correct me down below or chuck in your 2 cents. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.